Hello guys, so those of you who have been following my Instagram will no doubt know that I'm currently building up a force for Cirith Ungol. So naturally, to accompany this army, I'm going to need a worthy display board. And that's exactly what we're showcasing today, the first steps on my journey in building a movie-authentic slice of the iconic Orc and Uruk-hai stronghold. Right, so the plan here is I've got my display board base here, which is just a cheeky coffee tray I stole from work, and some XPS foam offcuts left over from my deeping wall diorama. And I kind of want to build up like a little room area up here on one side. This we can build up into a tower with Shagrat hanging out on the top. And then this is this little offcut here. I want to kind of emulate that iconic moment where Gorbag kicks the Uruk through the window, so that can be built up around here maybe. I might need something to build up the back as well. Maybe some big rocks. I could carve that out of the extra foam I have there. So yeah, that's the basic layout. Just got to figure out how to fill it up. Enter the Ruins of Dol Guldur terrain set. Now this plastic kit is jam-packed with highly detailed and modular Morgul fortress bits, so it was a perfect starting point to build off from. I began by clipping out a ton of parts that I felt would fit the Mordor aesthetic best, avoiding any pieces with vines or anything too Dol Guldur-esque. So these are the pieces that we've got to work with. I've still got 2 sprues left over here with some additional parts on, but these are the parts that I cherry-picked that I think looked the most like Cirith Ungol. So it's a nice gate piece, some archways, windows, a staircase, a nice little metal detailing, the kind of angular archways. Yeah, so we're just going to try and figure out how to put it all together now. Now the modularity of this kit is a joy to work with. All the parts fit really nicely together and it's just really fun trying to build up different combinations. I started off with the back tower that I planned out earlier, just kind of putting pieces together until I got a shape that I was happy with. Next up was building the foam foundational supports. Using the XPS foam slabs, I began cutting simple brick patterns across the exposed surfaces, widening these lines with a pencil, and then adding texture with a scrunched up piece of tinfoil. Finally, I added various cracks and chips to random bricks, just to maintain that disheveled and worn aesthetic. For the larger walls, however, I resorted to a more prehistoric technique. I mean, if it works, it works. Removing a couple of bricks and indenting random corners can also really help sell that rugged, uneven look to an old wall. Okay, so this is what we got so far. It's still a bit of a mess, but the basic idea is coming together nicely. We've carved out a nice little rock face here using the brickwork to match the plastic kit. And then this kind of goes into more jagged rocks back here. A, because I'm lazy, and B, because I quite like the idea of it being carved into the cliff face of Cirith Ungol like you see with the full tower. Up here is where the little Shagrat tower is going to be. I think I'll build it up one more level maybe. I'm going to continue the plastic ruins down here, leading into a nice archway right about there. And this is where Gorbag has his iconic moment. Obviously not quite as high up as the movie shows, but hey, I only have so many parts. So deciding in the end to not be lazy, I went back and did the floor pattern using the same techniques as the wall. And with that drying off to one side, it was time to build up the upper floor of the tower. This ended up being a really fun and satisfying process, just kind of filling the space with various orc weapons, shields, bits of wood, all the details that make a place look lived in. The exterior was a similar story, using parts from the Great Beast of Gorgoroth Howdah, a Lake Town walkway, and various bits of chain to add that orcish flair. The next day, it was time to carve out a cliff face. Using a much larger slab of XPS foam, I sliced out a portion to line the back side of the board, and then began scoring long grooves into the foam to simulate a jagged cliff face. The tried and true caveman technique also coming in very handy here. The back corner I left smooth so I could slot in another ruined piece to the side. I then stuck in some matchsticks. This would allow me to rest a series of walkways on top, joining the left section to the right. And of course, we cannot forget the all-important Morgul drainage system. After this, I gathered the wall pieces I had left and laid them out horizontally along the board edge to simulate a crumbled tile floor. cutting up a selection of extra tiles and placing them haphazardly along and around the wall pieces, just to transition the effect smoothly into the emptier floor space. Once that had set, I added the iconic Gorbag archway, decorated with various tarps and a Morgul Knight's banner to match the other plastic section I had done before. Just along from this, I put together a small orc dining area with an assortment of bowls, baskets and the metal campfire from the classic Weathertop set. And finally, above the dungeon area, I set up a small archer's lookout post, complete with an orc drum to sound the alarm if and when anything nefarious is spotted. So I think I'll leave it there for part 1. Obviously there's still much more left to do, so if you've enjoyed the video, consider subscribing for the next one, and maybe dropping a cheeky like for the almighty algorithm overlords. Regardless, have a wonderful day, happy hobbying, and hopefully I'll see you in part 2.